Hi, this is Shui with a review of the Adidas Exhibit A. Interesting name, Exhibit A. I think they made a signature shoe or a player exclusive for a WNBA player. Maybe it was Candace Parker. I'm not too sure. I'll need to double check on that. But anyway, it's great that major brands are doing that for female basketball stars as well. This is a basketball shoe that looks not so much like a basketball shoe. So if you're going for that, this is definitely a shoe for you. First thing that stands out is this little plastic bit with the name on it, Exhibit A or EXHA. The tongue is nice, soft, but unfortunately, there are edges, these little edges. Even this cuts in like a blade, depending on how you like your shoe to fit, or depending on the shape of your foot. For me, I had this pinching sensation just like I would have had with the Jordan 35s, and all the pinching corners that would just scrape into your skin and rip your Achilles a new opening, I suppose. It's pretty bad. If you wear really thick ankle braces, then maybe this is not going to be an issue. But for those of you who are used to low-cut shoes, these cutting edges, be careful of that. Try the shoe on, see if it fits and works ergonomically with the shape of your foot. Interestingly, they have a lace loop at the end, which is sort of like a speed lacing system at the edge. But speed lacing, they should be somewhere in the middle, not at the top. It would be better if it was just a regular lace loop. For the size, you could go true to size, but there's a huge space on top of your toe box, a tradition that Adidas refuses to claw their way out of. And because of this really thick stitched bonding area here, this is going to dig into your foot like that. So try it on, flex around in it, see if it hurts you, or if it doesn't bother you, then get it. But more often than not, I feel like this is definitely going to be a huge pinching point. It's not super breathable, although it looks like it. What else is there? There's this little clutching system, a la the typical kind of reinforcement for heel support system that we've seen like shoes like ASIC running shoe, or some of the older Kobe models like the 4, 5, and 6. The heel cup is inside there as well, so it's getting the job done. There's not much of a heel slippage or any kind of issue like that. The shoe for size 9, it weighs about 388 grams, but it feels lighter than what the digit shows. It's a very light feeling shoe, and the light strike it feels good. It feels good. It feels low to the ground and plush at the same time. Unfortunately, they did make the same mistake of having this idiotic plate right underneath your foot instead of on the outsole. So you feel the plate on these little edges at the bottom of your foot. So it kind of negates the fact that it has a low profile plush light strike foam. Overall, it feels very similar to Hardened Forest, so that's definitely a plus. And because the insole they're given, they say it's a going green, eco-friendly. It's sort of like made of recycled material. This insole, as you can tell, is sort of like an Orsolite material, but it's a lot denser than typical Orsolite, and it's nice. It actually works nicely in tandem with the shoe to ensure that the plastic plates are negated and the light strike foam is actually activated nicely, so you feel less of a intrusion with a plate in between. So it feels very much similar to the Hardened Force, which is one of the light strike shoes that I always give high praise for. The outsole pattern is very interesting. It's sort of like, I guess you call it a diamond grid or a milk crate pattern. This is something that we've seen in the traditional Chuck Taylor All-Stars, and when Chuck Taylor All-Stars made serious basketball shoes in the 90s, they tried to pay homage to the traditional patterns with this sort of a pattern. It actually works nicely. If you remember the Jordan 32s, yes, we had a similar pattern there. Jordan 32s, interestingly, I guess it depends on the material. It had a decent grip, but it had certain points in the game where you feel like you're slipping a little bit more than other times during while you're playing the same game. So it's sort of sensitive to a certain amount of certain type of molecular forms of dust. It should be gripping the court nicely, but you will need to wipe. It can be quite dust sensitive, but still, this pattern is definitely an upgrade from the horrific spiderweb pattern we've seen at the Donny shoes, or the lazy copy and paste herringbone pattern we've seen in a lot of Adidas shoe, and the lightning pattern that we've seen in Dame sevens. So definitely a step in the right direction for Adidas. Let's work from this and not ditch it and go back to the lazy uh, cardboard cutout outsole pattern that don't really work. The the width, it's not that great. I mean, it's definitely wider and more stable than shoes like most of the LeBron series, where you can actually break your ankles just by just tilting a little bit. But it's not as wide as most Adidas shoes that we've seen as of late, especially like the Hardens. And this little part, which should work out as an outrigger, it's not as prominent as it should be. And because the light strike is soft, you will not feel that immediate resistance if you're on the verge of spraining your ankle, but you will feel that plush, somewhat of a breakage there. Not too bad. Better than the LeBrons. Not as good as the typical Adidas shoes with thick, outrigger-ish mechanism that works. So yeah, all in all, this is a pretty decent Adidas shoe, and the price is constantly fluctuating but going down a little bit, so always check and see what kind of a deal you can get. And of course, the pinching sensation, those are the deal breakers for me. These little corners, the side blade, and this little separation of the stitches. Make sure you put your shoes on, lace them up tight, see if these parts hurt you or not.